Hi. I cut my thumb opening a Gillette razor because I'm eternally 14 years old. So throughout most of my life, I had one constant thing that could always bring me joy and make me forget about any of life's problems. At least once a month, I could always escape to another world with friends, family, or just alone sometimes. And listen, I know you read the title, so you know I'm talking about movie theaters, but I appreciate you letting me have my intro. So movies have always been like my favorite thing, and movie theaters have always been my favorite place to go, a vast majority of my favorite childhood memories taking place there. Even long after some movies come out, rewatching them brings back memories I have of seeing them in theaters. Star Wars: The Force Awakens might be the prime example. If I didn't see that in theaters, I probably wouldn't like it as much as I do. But since I have the memories of seeing it opening night and hearing the crowd around me gasp when Kylo Ren was revealed as Han Solo's son, or cheer when Rey used the Force to pull Anakin's lightsaber out of the snow and ignite it, I think I just love it so much because I have a memory where my dad, myself, and a room full of strangers collectively bonded over a story. Compare that to my experience watching Soul, which was released on Disney Plus this last December. I loved it, and it's objectively a much better film than The Force Awakens. But I watched it alone, on my laptop, and the knowledge that I was alone while watching it caused any reactions I had to be much smaller. Like instead of it was more, I mean, what seems more appealing to you? This?
Nice.
Or this?
Avengers! Assemble.
Also, there was less of a social aspect to it. Like, yeah, I was able to talk to a couple of friends that had seen it and listen to a few podcasts, but that will never compare to movies like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or Baby Driver, where I walked out of the theater and was able to turn to the friend I saw it with and immediately lament, "Oh my god, that was so good!" Or even better, walking out of Avengers Infinity War, or again The Force Awakens, and turning to my friend to be like, "What do you think's gonna happen next?" But justice, you might say. Movie theaters are back open, what's the problem? Or maybe you wouldn't say that, I don't know you. Actually, with my current following, chances are I do know you. So, hi, we should talk more. Yes, theaters are back open, but there are some aspects of their return that worry me because I can never allow myself to be happy. So obviously the reason for so many films going to streaming this past year and a half has been due to theaters being closed during the COVID-19 pandemic. By the way, get fucking vaccinated. And while they were closed, I was ecstatic whenever a movie did go to streaming. Because not having a social life is one thing, but taking away most movies from me also? But now that theaters have opened back up after studios have been experimenting with streaming services for the past year, we're in this weird sort of gray area. Like, so far this year, Disney has been releasing all their movies on Disney Plus with premiere access as well as in theaters, and Warner Brothers has already committed to releasing all their movies in theaters and on HBOmax this year. And so far, all the movies to come out under this dual release strategy haven't done nearly as well at the box office as the same type of movies did pre-pandemic. And I worry that this might diminish how effectively studios are able to gauge a movie's success. And you might be thinking, well, don't they know how many people are watching it on streaming, so they could just combine those numbers with the numbers of the people going to see it in theaters, and then they'd know? Well, that should be the case, but unfortunately it's not because of a little thing called piracy. Now, piracy has been a thing since the internet has been able to stream video. However, whenever a movie's exclusively released in theaters, a pirated copy usually looks something like this. But when a movie's released on streaming, it allows for it to be pirated in HD. So the number of people that watched a movie on streaming and in theaters that the studios know about might only be a fraction of the total people that watched it. Now, why does this matter? Well, let's look at two movies that came out this year, Black Widow and In the Heights, which both underperformed at the box office and had hybrid releases. What if studios' takeaway from their lack of success is that people don't show up for movies with Latinx casts or female leads, and then make less such films going forward? See how this is a problem now? Okay, now we need to talk about Dune. So Dune is a groundbreaking 1965 sci-fi novel written by Frank Herbert. It's a big deal in the history of science fiction because its influence can be seen in pretty much every popular sci-fi thing since its publication. Namely, a movie called Star Wars. You might have heard of it. There have been TV and movie adaptations of Dune before, but there's a new one coming out this year from Arrival and Blade Runner 2049 director Denis Villeneuve. So a talented director is adapting a beloved novel with one of the most star-studded casts I've ever seen. It's no surprise that from the trailers so far, this movie looks like the best thing ever. Wish I could just leave it at that, but you know that this Dune tangent has to tie back into the main thesis of the video, so. The novel Dune is lengthy at over 400 pages long, and all those pages are very dense. Villeneuve, being a fan of the source material and wanting to adapt it faithfully, insisted on doing it in 2 movies. Cool, so we'll get the whole book across the upcoming movie and its sequel. Well, as I said earlier, Warner Brothers made the decision to release all of its 2021 films simultaneously in theaters and on HBOmax. A decision which angered Villeneuve, who said, "Streaming can produce..." He has a French accent. Should I do the accent? No, I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to. Streaming can produce great content, but not movies of Dune's scope and scale. Warner Bros.' decision means Dune won't have the chance to perform financially in order to be viable, and piracy will ultimately triumph. My team and I devoted more than 3 years of our lives to make it a unique big screen experience. Our movie's image and sound were meticulously designed to be seen in theaters. Also on SNL, Timothee Chalamet wore a Legendary Pictures hoodie showing support for the studio and disapproval for the release strategy. So I hate to tell you that if you don't see Dune in theaters, Timothee Chalamet fucking hates you. I'm sorry, it's the truth. But Villeneuve is right. Like most of the other films to be released simultaneously on streaming, Dune will likely only be able to make money from a fraction of the people who watch it, causing it to be deemed a financial failure. And then this film, which was always intended to be half of a complete story, won't get a sequel. So, what do we do about this? How can we assure that the success of films like Dune can be accurately communicated to the studios that make them? Well, for starters, studios can stop doing these hybrid releases, so if people want to see a movie, they have no choice but to do so in theaters. For the most part, the movies to come out this year exclusively in theaters have done better than the ones to come out on streaming as well. But while they're not doing that, listen, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you not to pirate movies. I mean, I'd never pirate a movie, but the new Space Jam movie, I did see it, but I didn't go to theaters, and I don't have HBOmax.
All right, now say...
I guess I'll say, if you pirate a movie and you like it, maybe watch it again in theaters or on streaming just to let the studio know that it's something you want to see more of. But people aren't going to do that, so I guess just see Dune in theaters. That's the point of this video. See Dune in theaters. Look at this. Look at this. Does this look like it was meant to be watched on a laptop? Fuck no, dude. See it in theaters.